She writes a zero waste food blog, Zero Waste Chef, and and shows others how to reduce their food surplus, because we're using that new term today, and improving the well-being and while saving money and boosting your bank account. She's Canadian transplant here in SF, Bay Area, with her partner and her sourdough starter. I love that. How old is your sourdough starter?
6.
6 years. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's just super exciting. I really want to know, like, maybe a recipe or something to share. My mom's visiting from Chicago, and she didn't understand why I make a big pot of rice and I leave it out for overnight, and then what do I do with it the next day? And she's like, what are you doing with all this old rice? Why don't you throw it away? I was like, no, that's how you make fried rice and congee. And like, it's so yummy. Like, there's so many yummy dishes from old rice, like, and you can't make it with brand new rice. So I would love, to hear you, and yeah.
Cooked grains are a great thing to have on hand, because nobody has time to start a meal from scratch every night, but if you have components already in the refrigerator ready to go, then you can oh, look, there I am.
There you are.
Then you can quickly make dinner. So yeah, I love having rice on hand also.
Cool. And during the pandemic, everyone got into making bread. Did you share your child, your sourdough child?
Oh yeah. So actually, I went to Canada to see my mom, and I always bring my starter with me when I travel. And I got stranded up there because of COVID, but I had my starter, so that was great. And I did a lot of sourdough things on Instagram, did some Instagram lives with just teaching people how to make their starter and answering lots of questions. But yeah, I noticed while I was up there, this was early March, my views for sourdough on my blog they went through the roof. And the reason I started making it sourdough was because I wanted to make the simplest bread possible. So that's how I got into it. And then during COVID, a lot of people realized, oh, can't buy yeast, so I'm gonna have to make my own. And then, it's so delicious, and I'm, even now, every time I take it out of the oven, I'm kind of amazed that I can make bread just with flour, water, and salt.
It is amazing. So easy. And zero waste. When we first went back to Dolores Park, there was this woman who came to me with her family, and she's like, I have all these plastic bread bags, and what can I do with them? I was like, well, at home, I explain what we can do, and, you ball them up, no bigger than a basketball, and you can place them in the blue can for recycling. She interpreted it as bring them to the park to me for some reason. But yeah, like, I think people don't realize how much plastic waste goes into something that's so simple and so easy, and you can really do it yourself.
Yeah, bread. And tortillas. I make tortillas. I make crackers. It all comes in plastic, all of it. Yeah, and there's a learning curve to sourdough. So on my blog, I wrote, it's easy when you know how. So after you've done it a few times, it gets easier. And also, if you're intimidated by the bread, you can make something simple out of starter. So this is my discard after feedings. I accumulate all of this, and I use it for pancakes and crackers and pizza dough, tortillas. Ooh, chocolate cake.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's nice to have this on hand. I lived on sourdough pancakes when I was at my mom's when I was trapped up there because my mom has no kitchen equipment. I don't know how she's still alive.
Oh man, well I'm glad she's probably happy to have you there.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was really nice. I spent what 3 months with my mom, so yeah, and I made sure she ate really well, and yeah,
nice.
It all worked out.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's interesting, you know, kind of the generational gaps of who learned what. I'm noticing, like, you know, my grandmother, you know, was the keeper of all recipes and knew how to garden and, you know, and use plant medicine and, you know, make bread. And like, I don't know, my mom, who, you know, child of the 50s and innovation, like, didn't learn that. So I, you know, had to relearn. Yeah, I had to learn it as an adult. And now I'm feeding her. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, when I started my blog, I was thinking of different names, and one I was toying with was Lost Knowledge, because we can barely feed ourselves. When in human history have we not been able to feed ourselves? If something happened, well, I don't know, like COVID, but if something, say all stores shut down, Safeway, no more Trader Joe's, people would die. I mean, when we don't, yeah. So, yeah, people are getting more self-reliant, learning some new skills, gardening, growing some of their own food. And these are all important skills that we're going to need as the climate continues to change.
For sure. Cool. I'm going to open up to, I'm going to check the chat for any questions, see if anyone has any, someone wants a link to your blog or the name to your blog. Oh, there we go. Teresa posted it. There you go. Teresa's on it.
Oh, and yours is actually a hot link, unlike mine, that I just typed in there. Yeah, that's correct, Teresa. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, I'm interested in the crackers because I have a 6-year-old human who loves crackers. And I don't like the plastic waste. And also I've noticed there's only like one brand of crackers that doesn't use palm oil. And just, you know, unless we have, you know, access to that brand, but I've never made crackers, and it seems intimidating. Is it intimidating?
Wow. Oh no, first things we tried to play, and they were pretty good. Oh, hi, Hillary.
Oh.
Yeah, they were pretty good. They were okay, you know, not bad. And then she made sourdough crackers, and I think there's just something about the sourdough. You're able to roll it out really thinly and make them crispy, and I mean, they're delicious. So once you have a starter going, they're easy. Let's see, my crackers have sourdough discard. So this is the leftover starter after you feed your active starter. That's Eleanor. So the crackers have the discard, flour, olive oil, or coconut oil, baking soda, salt. That's it. And then you can add toppings. You can add rosemary or I don't know, whatever, garlic granules, or and then I sprinkle them with salt. And
Anne-Marie, you're freezing.
Bake them. Well,
is she back? Does Hillary have a specific
love potion? Oh, am I?
Yeah, you're freezing. Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah. Can you hear me?
We didn't hear. We didn't hear most of. We didn't hear the tail end of the crackers, but yeah, we can. It seems it's not intimidating. You did answer my question. And then we have a question from Hillary. Hillary wants to know, what do you think about advocacy and activating your network to call for changes, to call for other change affecting zero waste alongside their choices as a consumer.
Okay, so I think this is what.
Oh, and there's a first question.
So I think that 2020 and every year following 2020 is a spaghetti year, and we need to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. So we need it all. We need consumers to change. We need government and industry on board. The thing is, government is not going to do anything until it feels pressure from grassroots, right? And Nestle's not going to wake up one morning and say, oh, we really should stop stealing water from California during a drought and putting it in plastic bottles that we ship all over that are single use and break down and release carbon emissions into the environment. It's not going to happen. So we need pressure on government, and then if there was regulation, then the playing field would be equal for industry. Because if one company decides to do the right thing, that puts them at a competitive disadvantage. So it's not going to happen without regulation. But we also need people on the consumer side to do what they can. So I would say everything's on the table. We all have to do whatever we can. And, you know, get active. So join organizations, you know, support Race to Zero Waste, join Plastic Free Coalition, join 350.org. Plastic comes from oil. 350 started divesting from fossil fuels 10 years ago while pushing for divestment, and they've really made progress, especially in the last couple of years. So get active, vote for God's sake.
Vote. Hey,
everyone to register to vote.
Yeah, and how about maybe, and this relates to Hillary's other question I had to scope for, cooking. Are there any practices or recipes that benefit from scale, like preparing in community? Like, can we come together and?
Yes, I write about that in my blog. So I lived in an intentional community for 15 years until COVID, and I got stranded in Canada. And anyway, now I'm at my partner's house in East Palo Alto. But I loved living in the community, and we had community dinners in there. And so 1 or 2 people would cook. It was 4 nights a week. We had vegetarian meals in there. And yeah, one or 2 people would cook, and then you could go and you can have dinner. People would volunteer to clean up. We need community. Like, we're all living in our own little houses or apartments cut off from each other, right? We all go out, we all have to have our own whatever, car, our own, if you have a house, our own lawnmower. Like, we need to live in small communities and help each other. And yeah, if people would take turns making big vats of food and share it, it would make a big difference. It would make life easier for everyone. It's more enjoyable sharing food.
It is. Cool. Well, thank you, Anne-Marie. And
thank you, Marie.
yeah, I'm going to, totally right on, like Teresa said.